So let's talk a little specifications. So right here you have a 5 megapixel rear camera, 2 megapixel front. It says 17.5 hours of talk time. I doubt anyone actually tested that out. If they did, 9 times out of 10, the phone was probably on 2G or it didn't have an internet connection and they just talked directly through. Because if anyone that has a cell phone, if you aren't aware of this, I'm going to let you know now. When you have a constant data connection like 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever it is, that's going to drain your battery over time. Better phones handle that better than with the software and updates and things like that to give you longevity. But when it comes to a phone like this right here, I can't imagine it really performing that well when it comes to just like battery life and what is it, internet access and things like that. It only has a 3000 mAh battery. So let's talk about a little bit more specs before I jump into that. So 480 times 960 pixel for the screen, FW plus display. I'm not even sure what FW stands for. I'm sure I've seen it before, but I can't just put my mind on it. But it's not an OLED display, it's not a super AMOLED display, it's not any of those high-end displays. When you see this phone, it's going to look very washed out. I'm not sure what the brightest nits are. For anyone that don't know what nits is, it's basically the max brightness of your device. Apple devices, because they have AMOLED screens, are able to go out into the sun. You could turn up the display and you shouldn't see any glare. Samsung does the same thing with a lot of their displays. The more you pay for a device, theoretically, the better it's supposed to be. But that's only with certain companies. Some companies like Motorola say anything, like the Moto Flip. It's a perfect example. Anyway, it says face unlock protection. Okay, so hopefully the camera's clear enough where face unlock will work. It says a MediaTek Helio A22 processor. For anyone wondering what that is, that's extremely underpowered. It is only meant to run the software for the device. It's meant to be able to run Android, so you can take pictures, so you can go into Facebook and do minuscule tasks, like little smaller tasks over time. Something tells me that this phone is going to lag a lot. With only 2 gigs of RAM, it isn't only so much you can do. Like if you go to an application and then you go over to Instagram and you go back to that application, it's a possibility that the previous application might close or foreclose on its own to make sure the phone doesn't crash, because it just doesn't have the what's the word I'm looking for here? It just doesn't have the raw power in order to do what a typical phone does. When I mean typical, I'm talking a N35G, a A15, Samsung A15, a Samsung A05 is weaker than all of those phones. So again, temper your expectations. You're not about to go play Call of Duty on this. You're not about to play Genshin Impact. I don't even know if you can do Temple Run. I'm assuming you can, but you might face some type of lag because of that. So if you're getting this phone as an emergency, as like a backup device or something like an extra number for an older person just to be able to contact them, that's understandable. If your pockets aren't doing too well and you just want to replace your device because you need to keep your phone number, you might use it for work reasons, this phone is going to work for you. But if you're using it as an everyday phone, I just don't see the longevity in it. That's just me. I didn't own it, so to each their own. For the people out there that like it, by all means like it. Don't let this video change your mind. Anyway, 32 gigs internally. It says Android Go Edition operating system. I've never heard of that before. So this is a 4G LTE phone, 6-inch display. There's a MediaTek quad-core processor, 2 gigs of RAM, running on Android 13 Go Edition. I've never heard of that before, but that must be something specifically for this phone or TCL in order to run this. Now, if they optimize the software properly, it's possible to get a smooth experience. Put it that way. But I've had other TCL devices, and I just don't really have faith with whatever the specifications are in this device that is going to run properly for everyday use. Like, kind of like when you're texting someone in the messages and you're swiping, whatever it is, you know how it's responsive? I see this phone lagging in almost every single area. Another example of this is I had the Motorola Flip. I talked about it on this channel. I think I championed it at first until I really started using it, and I realized it wasn't a good phone. But that had laggy issues, and that was a 700 device originally that dropped to 500, and that had a better camera, 144 hertz screen, and all this stuff. That still underperformed with other phones in the same class and price point. This definitely is going to have all the problems of that Motorola and just a plethora of more. So again, temper your expectations. You're getting this because there is no other options. That's the easiest way that I can say this without hurting someone's feelings. So it looks like you could take up to a 512 gigabyte memory card. You have a 3000 mAh battery. It's not much more than that. Bluetooth 5.1. We already talked about the processor. This does have a headphone jack, USB-C, so thank God. I was about to say this phone going to have micro USB, but it does have USB-C. At least they did that. Supporting email platforms, Apple Mail, all this other stuff, Yahoo, Google. We already know that. When you go to the add account information in Android devices, they give you a list of other emails and other programs that you can sign into if need be. This does have mobile hotspot capable, but it's only going to be in 4G LTE, not 5G. So to each their own. Some people care about 5G, some don't. I toggle mine on and off in different locations because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I guess there's really nothing else to say about the device. It does come with a 5-volt 2A charger. Wow. And because the battery is 3000 mAh, I would assume it's an hour, 2 hours to probably charge it from 0 to 100% at 5 volts. The average phone probably does a minimum of 15 at this point. Some OnePlus devices do 120, 65, 70, 80, depends. My iPhone, I think the Pro model can do 27 watts, but the regular ones do 25. Samsung does 25 watts, so it really depends on how fast you want the charging speeds to actually be and what you're doing currently on that device. Oh, and it says right here, up to 23 gigabytes used for user available storage. So they either rounded that off to 23 gigs or it's like 22 point something megabytes. Anyway, at the end of the day, let me just show you the pictures. This isn't a good device, but it will get you through to where you need to go. But if you are going to Metro by T-Mobile, my suggestion, if you have the money, would be to, I'll show you another. I'll show you the phone. I would say the TCL 50XL 5G for $159 would be a better price, but that's just the price of the phone, not so much the price of the plan if you're signing up for new service. If you're porting from a different carrier, I talked to you about the port deals. I personally would suggest the S23 FE as a promotion if you're porting from like AT&T, Cricket, one of those other brands, Verizon, prepaid Verizon. As long as it's not a T-Mobile branded network, you'll qualify for that promotional price. Get the insurance for your device, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to hold on to that until the wheels fall off, and with their new upgrade plans, that might actually work for you. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe like always, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.